What if Dolly Parton's last message was never supposed to sound like a farewell? Yet today, once you know what unfolded just 4 days afterward, her words take on an entirely new meaning. Because in her final days, Dolly wasn't speaking like someone getting ready to say goodbye to the world. She was speaking about what came next. She was speaking about her work, her dreams, and everything she still hoped to accomplish. So, what came between those words and the devastating news that Dolly Parton was gone? On August 25, 2026, word spread that millions of people never wanted to hear. Dolly Parton had passed away at 80 years old. Her nephew Brian Seaver shared the news of her death through a video posted on her social media accounts. The message described the moment as one carrying both pride and deep sorrow, and almost instantly, the world started to look back. Not toward the start of her career, not toward her endless list of awards, songs, films, businesses, or charitable work, but towards something far more recent, something she had said just 4 days before. Because on August 21st, Dolly had spoken openly about her health. And what she shared now feels nearly unbearable to revisit. In comments given to People, Dolly admitted she had been managing health issues she hadn't fully attended to while she was caring for her husband Carl Dean, before his passing in March 2025. She revealed that she had gone through tough health struggles before, including serious issues back in the 1980s. But then came the part that makes this timeline so haunting. Dolly didn't sound like someone who believed her journey was coming to a close. She sounded like someone who still had a road ahead of her. She said she was continuing to heal and continuing to work. She spoke about all the things she still hoped to accomplish, and her wish to keep working for as long as possible so her ideas could come to life. That's the unsettling contradiction at the heart of this story. Just days before she died, Dolly was recognizing that her health had grown serious. Yet at the same time, she was talking about the road ahead. Her plans included ongoing creative projects and new ideas still taking shape, among them early concepts for Avatar-style performances. Her larger vision also touched on major undertakings tied to Nashville and the Broadway show based on her life story. And that raises a question no one can truly answer. Did Dolly fully grasp how serious her condition actually was? She was aware something was wrong. She knew she was in the process of healing. And she still believed there was so much more waiting for her. Then, just 4 days later, she was gone. That's why her final public statements now carry so much weight, because Dolly Parton wasn't simply reflecting on what she had overcome. She was speaking about everything she still intended to do. And then August 25th arrived. The future she had been describing suddenly turned into a future she would never live to see. But there's something even more moving buried within those last words. Something that only becomes clear once you understand what Dolly was working to complete, build, and pass on. And that's where the true meaning of her final message begins. In the days before her death, Dolly Parton wasn't saying farewell. That difference matters, because once someone passes away, everyday words can suddenly take on far greater weight. A sentence about the future can sound like a goodbye. A plan for what's coming can turn into a reminder of everything that future will never hold. And Dolly's last public words carried exactly that kind of significance. She had acknowledged that her health had been struggling. She had admitted she hadn't always looked after herself the way she should have, particularly during the years spent caring for her husband, Carl. But she also made one thing very clear. She was still looking ahead. She was still healing. She was still working. And maybe most importantly, she still had goals she wanted to reach. That was who Dolly was. Even when talking about something as heavy as her health, her focus stayed on what could still be made. And now, knowing she died only days afterward, those words feel heartbreakingly incomplete. Not because Dolly secretly sensed what was coming. There's no proof that she did, but because the future she was picturing suddenly stopped being one she'd get to live through. It turned into a list of dreams left behind. For decades, Dolly built a life around creating things designed to last beyond her. Songs, stories, performances, books, businesses, and charitable efforts that reached well beyond any stage. Her imagination library, for instance, became one of the most well-known parts of her charitable legacy, delivering books to children in communities around the globe. And there was still more she wanted to accomplish. That's what makes her final health update so telling. She wasn't defining herself through her illness. She was defining herself through the work she hadn't finished yet. There was another loss woven into this final chapter as well. Dolly had already grieved the death of Carl Dean, her husband of nearly 60 years, who passed in March 2025. Their relationship had always stayed very private. Dolly often spoke publicly about their long marriage, but she also shielded much of their personal life from the public eye. His passing marked the close of one of the longest-lasting relationships of her life. And still, even after such a massive loss, Dolly kept moving forward. She kept creating. She kept making plans. She kept dreaming about what could come next. That may be the most essential detail for understanding her final days. Dolly Parton's story was never just about celebrity. It was about persistence. She grew up in a large, struggling family in the Tennessee mountains and turned a childhood marked by hardship into a career that spanned generations. Yet even at 80, she never seemed to view herself as done. That's why her final message feels so different now. At the time, her words centered on recovery and possibility. After her death, they became something else entirely, a last look at a woman still gazing toward tomorrow. And maybe that's the mystery that will always remain. What did Dolly actually know? What did she believe still lay ahead? How much did she truly understand about how serious her health had become? Those questions may never have real answers, and maybe they don't need to, because there's another truth that doesn't require any guesswork. Dolly Parton's last public words weren't a goodbye. They were a statement of hope. She was still talking about her work, still talking about her ideas, still talking about what was still to come. And sometimes that's exactly what makes a person's final words hit so hard. We don't realize they're the last until it's already too late. Someone says, "I'll get this done, I'll finish that, I still have things I want to achieve," and everyone around them assumes there's always another tomorrow waiting. For Dolly, there wasn't, but everything she built remains. Her music remains, her songwriting remains, her performances remain, her generosity remains, her dedication to literacy remains, and the millions of people who grew up on her voice can still hit play and hear her as if she were right there in the room. That may ultimately be what her last message truly meant. It reshaped everything, not because she knew it would be her final message, but because we now know that it was. Her last words weren't about death. They were about living, about pressing forward, about creating, about believing there was still something worth chasing. And maybe that's the most fitting closing chapter for Dolly Parton. Not a woman preparing to say her goodbyes, but a woman still looking ahead, still dreaming, still giving, still working, until suddenly there was no tomorrow left for her to reach. And yet, in a strange way, her tomorrow became ours. Every song she wrote, every child who got a book, every person who found comfort in her music, every dream she sparked, those things carry on. So maybe the most meaningful way to honor Dolly's memory isn't to wonder what she knew in her final days, but to remember what she chose to do with the time she had. She kept going. And if Dolly Parton's music ever meant something to you, share your favorite Dolly song in the comments below. And if you'd like to know more about her final chapters, subscribe to the channel for our latest updates.